Historian Daniel Voss stands before the Grand Van Leeuwarden estate, a place of mystery and forgotten secrets. The overcast sky looms above as the estate's iron gate creaks open, beckoning him to uncover the truth of Lady Elise's past. Laced with cobbled streets and whispering canals, the Dutch city of Leeuwarden bore the weight of centuries. Its old merchant houses, proud and dignified, loomed over waterways that reflected their secrets. Among its many whispered tales, none captivated the imagination quite like that of Lady Elise van Leeuwarden. A woman of striking intelligence and quiet grace, Lady Elise had been a prominent figure in the city's history, yet her name had all but vanished from official records. What little remained of her memory was locked away in the aging walls of the Van Leeuwarden estate, a grand structure that now stood mostly forgotten. Rumors swirled among historians and locals alike. Was she a political conspirator? A traitor? Or had she simply been a woman who loved too fiercely in an era that did not forgive such things? For years, scholars had sought answers. But every trail led to dead ends, until now. Daniel Voss, a young historian from Amsterdam, had arrived in Leeuwarden with one goal: to uncover the truth. And in doing so, he would awaken a past that many had fought to keep buried. Arrival in Leeuwarden. The train ride from Amsterdam to Leeuwarden was a long one, but Daniel Voss barely noticed. His fingers drummed anxiously on the spine of a leather-bound notebook, his mind racing with the pieces of information he had gathered about Lady Elise. The woman had been a mystery. A noblewoman of influence, a patron of the arts, a beloved figure in society, and yet, inexplicably, she had vanished from history. Even her supposed death was suspicious. No burial site, no funeral records, no mention of illness or accident. It was as if she had simply disappeared. As the train slowed into the station, Daniel peered out the window. The city of Leeuwarden unfolded before him, its skyline punctuated by the leaning tower of Oldehove, its historic center lined with gabled rooftops and canals. His destination was the Van Leeuwarden estate, a sprawling mansion on the outskirts of the city. But before he could step foot inside, he needed to seek permission from Willem de Vries, the curator of the local historical society. The gatekeeper of history. Willem de Vries was an older man with thinning white hair, a stern face, and an unmistakable air of someone who had spent his life guarding secrets. The Van Leeuwarden estate, Willem repeated, studying Daniel with wary eyes. You're not the first historian to go poking around in that place. I know, Daniel said, leaning forward. But I have reason to believe that Lady Elise's story has been deliberately erased. And I think her lost letters hold the key. Willem let out a tired sigh. People don't like old wounds being reopened. Especially wounds that never properly healed. Daniel frowned. What do you mean? The old curator hesitated, then pushed a small, yellowed document across the table. This is the only official record of Lady Elise's fate. Daniel picked up the paper, reading aloud. Lady Elise van Leeuwarden, deceased, December 17, 1762. Cause unknown. No further records to be preserved by order of the City Council. Asterisk. His fingers tightened around the page. They erased her. Willem nodded gravely. And if you dig too deep, they might try to erase you too. The hidden chamber. The Van Leeuwarden estate was a monument to a forgotten era. Its red-bricked facade was worn, its once grand windows clouded with dust. Daniel stepped inside, his footsteps echoing through empty halls adorned with portraits of long-dead ancestors. He had spent the evening poring over estate blueprints, and now, he was certain, there was a hidden chamber behind the northern library wall. In the hidden chamber beneath the Van Leeuwarden estate, Daniel Voss carefully opens a dust-covered wooden chest, revealing stacks of ancient letters sealed with the emblem of Lady Elise. The dim lantern light flickers against the stone walls, illuminating a long-buried secret. Heart-pounding, Daniel descended into the dark. The air was thick with the scent of dust and forgotten history. At the bottom of the stairs, he found an old wooden chest, its hinges rusted, its lock broken. Inside, wrapped carefully in silk, were stacks of letters, each sealed with the wax emblem of Lady Elise. Daniel's hands trembled as he unfolded the first page, and then he began to read. The letters of Lady Elise. The letters painted a picture far different from the history books. Lady Elise had been more than just a noblewoman, she had been a revolutionary. She had fallen in love with Johann Meyer, a brilliant commoner with dangerous ideas about democracy and equality. Together, they had worked in secret, smuggling messages to underground resistance leaders, exposing corruption within the city's ruling elite. The letters spoke of forbidden meetings, of betrayals and whispered conspiracies. But the final letter was different. It was not written by Elise. It was addressed to her. They know. Leave now, or suffer the consequences. Asterisk. The date on the letter was December 17, 1762. The very day Lady Elise had supposedly died. In the candle-lit study of the Van Leeuwarden estate, historian Daniel Voss examines the letters of Lady Elise. His fingers tremble as he unfolds a message bearing a chilling warning: they know. Leave now, or suffer the consequences. The moonlight filtering through the window casts long shadows, deepening the mystery. The vanishing act. If Lady Elise had truly died, where was her grave? Daniel combed through burial records, but her name was nowhere to be found. No tombstone, no church entry, nothing. Instead, he found something even more chilling. A city council order, dated December 18, 1762. Lady Elise Van Leeuwarden is to be stricken from all records. Her name shall not be spoken in official documentation, nor shall her story be preserved. Asterisk. They had erased her from history. But why? The betrayal. Daniel returned to the hidden chamber, determined to uncover more. And there, beneath the letters, he found a second document. It bore an official seal. It was a confession. Someone close to Lady Elise had betrayed her, reported her activities to the ruling elite. And that someone had been her own brother. As Daniel pieced together the evidence, a chilling realization struck him. Elise had not died. She had been silenced. Her name had been erased, her story buried, her memory condemned to oblivion. But now, after centuries of silence, the truth had resurfaced. And the city of Leeuwarden would have to reckon with it. In a dimly lit 18th-century Dutch council chamber, Lady Elise Van Leeuwarden stands before a panel of powerful officials. A sealed document on the table bears her fate. Her name is to be erased from history. Though her dress is disheveled, her expression remains defiant, refusing to surrender to the injustice. The reckoning. Daniel published his findings. The response was immediate. Historians debated, the city council panicked, and the people of Leeuwarden demanded justice for a woman who had been wronged by history. Finally, after centuries of silence, Lady Elise's name was restored. A statue was erected in the city square, a tribute to the woman who had dared to defy the powerful. And Daniel, standing before it, felt the weight of history settle on his shoulders. Some secrets were meant to be buried, but some deserved to be unearthed. In the heart of modern-day Leeuwarden, a grand bronze statue of Lady Elise Van Leeuwarden stands tall, holding a letter symbolizing the truth she fought to preserve. Passers-by pause to admire the long-overdue tribute, as the city finally acknowledges the woman erased from history but never truly forgotten. Epilogue. The whispering past. As Daniel prepared to leave Leeuwarden, he felt a strange presence, an echo of something long forgotten. Or perhaps, something finally at peace. He turned one last time to the statue of Lady Elise, her gaze forever fixed on the horizon. The past did not die. It simply waited, and now, at last, it had been heard.